Welcome to Soundtown, episode 3. I was going to say Trace. You remember when Green Day released those 3 EPs and they called them Uno, Dos, and then Trey because isn't the drummer's name Trey?
Yeah, Trey Cool.
Yeah. I thought that was a really cool concept, but I'm not sure if they pulled it off to the best of their ability.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But I like the way you started that. That was good.
I think let's just keep rolling with it.
Okay.
We have a super awesome, we have a great episode. We talked to our good friend Kate Lord from Sleepy Freak. We're such a fan of their music. Eric, how do you think that conversation went?
I thought it was great. I thought it went well. We got some great insight into some songwriting, into some just general Philly quarantine life.
Yeah. And we were asking some pretty stupid questions towards the end, but she seemed like she wanted to stay on with us the rest of the day, and I would have been down to do it.
Yeah, I love Sleepy Freak. I think that just really clever music. That's how I describe it.
For sure, and there's a lot more to come apparently, according to Kate. So let's just hop right into our interview. Stick around at the end because if you haven't realized yet, at the end of all of our podcast episodes, we'll play a full song of the artists that we interview, just to give you a taste, so give you extra incentive to check them out if you haven't already. So here's our interview with Kate Lord of Sleepy Freak.
Holding on to who we used to be. I'm not used to versions of you and me.
You look like who's that villain from Batman? Poison Ivy. And I mean that like in a nice way though.
I accept that. I've been told I look like a lot of, like, with all my, like, changing hair. When I was in high school, some random man came up to me on the street and asked me to like, be at his daughter's birthday party because I looked like some person from a TV show that she really liked. It was really weird.
Did you go? Were you gonna get paid?
He offered to pay me, yeah. I didn't go. My friend's dad came up to me and was like, what did that guy want? And I told him, and he was like, Kate, do not talk to that man ever again.
You just lost out on some work. That would have been a nice little cash right there.
Yeah.
Working a little kid's birthday party.
Maybe some money, maybe like a weird human trafficking scam.
Maybe some birthday cake.
Yeah, definitely smart not to go.
Well, I said Poison Ivy.
Sounds like a bad party either way.
Oh, the plants.
Yeah, nice plants, yeah, as
Yeah.
well as the hair color.
I don't know Batman, so I always
Oh.
just assume it's about hair.
Well, yeah, it was
Okay,
50% hair, 50% plants. Poison Ivy, she was like a redheaded lady who was like into plants, a botanist, if you will. Is that the correct term?
I think so.
Yeah, and then she would just she did have superpowers because she could control the plants. The plants were her friends, but then she'd also just like poison people.
That's it.
But you don't do that. You're a nice person.
Yeah, it's like 50-50.
I don't know enough about comics to weigh in on this.
I think the only live action movie she was in, I think Uma Thurman played her. And it was like in one of the bad ones, like I think it was the George Clooney one or the Val Kilmer one. And I remember I was a little kid and I was watching and she was like being all like seductive or whatever. And then she like kissed this guy on the lips and like had like some deep tongue action. But what the guy didn't know was that she was like half plant. And so her tongue like poisoned the other guy's tongue. And then he like started turning green and then I guess he died. And I don't know why I'm going on that tangent.
I mean, that's great.
That was important.
I love that.
This is great. How about this? If you can have any superpower, what would it be and why?
I used to always, when I was a kid, my answer was always that I wanted to control the weather. I don't remember why.
That's pretty cool.
But I feel like that or like shape-shifting. Because shape-shifting you can just do so many things with.
Yeah.
It's a multifaceted superpower.
What do you think, Eric? What would you be? Or what would you
I was
do?
boring. I always just wanted to fly.
That's nice.
That's the boring answer.
I
just
always
figure,
wanted to. Go ahead.
Oh, like you can shapeshift into a bird, and then you get to fly.
Okay, yeah, that is pretty cool.
My wish would be to have all the superpowers. No, I always wanted to control time, like really bad, like stop time, start time, fast forward, go back, because you could stop time and like mess with people, or like I said this. I told this to somebody at work, and they totally shut me down. I could, when I was taking a test in like elementary school, I always was like, it'd be so cool if I could freeze time, go to the teacher's desk and get all the correct answers and just copy it and then go back and resume time. And the kid was like, why don't you just like, your superpower just, you know everything or whatever. That's so stupid. I
changed my answer to knowing everything.
Knowing everything would be way better.
Because then I would know how to fly.
There you go.
But I also know how to shapeshift.
Were you trying to fly too, Eric?
Just kidding. I don't know. I don't know. I just think it's cool to be able to be above the world.
Kate, what are you trying to shapeshift into?
I don't know. Animals?
Plants.
I feel like being a horse could be cool. But like temporarily.
Sorry.
Or like a cat. Like if I just had a day where I just wanted to sleep, then I'm just like, it's cool, I'll just be a cat. And then it's
I would
acceptable.
stay a cat forever. I don't think I'd want to leave that.
Do you have any pets, Kate?
I do. I have a bunny. She's like behind me back there. I don't know. Oh, you can see her cage. Maybe at the top of her head. She's
What's her
super
name?
old. Her name is Chocolate. I got her when I was 10, I think. And she's very blind. Found out like 2 years ago that she has cataracts. And they were like, yeah, like we can do this procedure to remove them, but it's like super traumatic and it costs like $1,000 per eye. So decided to not do that.
Yeah.
They have to like, if they
rough.
do it, they like stick a needle in her eye and then like extract the, and I was like, I don't know if she would recover from that emotionally, so.
Yeah. Aren't rabbits like really sensitive?
Yes.
To stress and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, my cousin has a rabbit, and yeah, she's had a few that just freaked out.
Yeah, she just like freaked out and stopped eating once because of a thunderstorm, and we had to like force feed her. It was kind of a nightmare. But yeah, they're super sensitive.
We have to do ad reads, and what was your rabbit's name again? Was it Chocolate?
Yeah.
And that's why this podcast episode is brought to you by Chocolate the Rabbit. What's the tagline for Chocolate the Rabbit, Eric? I don't have the paper in front of me.
Blind as a bunny.
That's it. Blind as a bunny. If you're looking for a good rabbit, can't see a darn thing, you want Chocolate the Rabbit. Kate, you've had Chocolate the Rabbit now since you were 10 years old. How has that impacted your life? Why are you so surprised?
Sorry, I just made the connection, like Chocolate Rabbit. I just made that connection right now.
Yeah, it sounds more clever than it is. I was just like, she's brown. Yeah, it's been great. We've had some really good times. When I was little, I would lie on the floor and I'd cover myself in vegetables so that he would come and hang out with me. Just,
I do that with my vegan
little
friends
lettuce
today,
on the forehead.
that's the thing though. Like chocolate the rabbit, really great. Vegetables not included though.
Yeah, Chocolate
Yeah,
the
you
Rabbit
have to buy
actually
your
is paying for this podcast today, so thank you, Chocolate.
Yeah, thank you so much. And if you want, you can go to their
We'll send
website
you the
now.
bill.
Go to their website now. Put in the code Soundtown the podcast with Eric and Russ featuring Kate from Sleepy Freak, and you can get 20% off of your order.
What's life been like in the past couple months of just pandemic life?
You know, it's been incredibly
That's how I describe the past
interesting.
few months. It's just
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I moved a couple weeks ago, which was weird to do, like,
mhm.
um, and I don't know, I feel like so used to it now that it's just like, this is it. But it was definitely like, I mean, thinking back to like March, very weird. I just stayed inside for so long. And yeah, I don't know.
Do you remember the last show you played?
I think it was, I'm pretty sure it was this like acoustic show at a house called the Wharf Arts Center.
Wharf Arts. I'm
Yeah.
familiar.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was that one. And it was with some touring bands from Chicago, I think. And I don't even remember the date of that, but I'm guessing it was like late February.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Yeah.
Did you have other shows lined up or like things in the works?
Yeah, I had a couple that were supposed to happen in March and April that like, and there was one, I think at Couchtown, there was one that was sort of like, there was one there and there was something else like the week that quarantine kind of really started. And I remember just being like, I don't know if I feel good about playing these, but I don't want to drop them because I haven't been playing a lot of shows. And then they got canceled and I was like, cool, I don't have to stress about it. But yeah, very weird. I was like going through my email and just like deleting stuff today, and I found like a couple email threads from like shows that were like halfway through getting set up and just never happened. So
When in quarantine, like how have you been keeping busy? Do you have a job? Are you writing music? You just binge watching TV shows?
it was a lot of TV at the beginning. I mean, so from until like May, I was still in school, so I was taking classes, but it was also just like a lot of them didn't have like meeting times, and so I just had to like do work for them or like watch videos. And so I definitely watched a lot of TV. Watched all of Tiger King in one day. Took a break in the middle, wrote a paper, then finished it. And then after school ended, I took some summer classes, but those didn't start till like July. And I was working, I was able to like jump back in with an organization that I've worked for the past 2 summers, who I'd kind of told like, hey, I'm probably not going to be around this summer because I was planning on potentially being elsewhere for an internship, which obviously didn't happen. And so I emailed them at some point, like late spring, and was like, hey, so I don't know if this program is happening. I don't know if you hired someone to take my job already, but I was able to do that. And it's like a summer program, so that just ended. And now I'm back in like weird nothing limbo for a while, and then school starts next week. So.
And is that all going to be online too?
Yeah. So I've pretty much put together semester of all the very boring classes that I have to take, so that I don't have to take things that are like hands-on online.
Sure. Are you studying like music industry stuff, or are you looking at others?
Yeah. So the program at UArts is called Music Business, Entrepreneurship, and Technology. I think it's the longest name of a major at the school. But yeah, it's basically like music industry. So I'm taking a semester of like pretty much all business classes, and then the last couple of like liberal arts classes that I had to finish up. And then hopefully we'll be in person in the spring, and I'll be able to do like the last chunk of all of my like recording and mixing classes and stuff. So we'll see.
How long have you been in the Philly area? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up not far from here, like 20, 30 minutes, Delaware County. But I went to high school in the city, and so I've sort of been like spending a lot of time in Philly, I mean for a lot of my life, but like really consistently since I was like 15, 16.
I find, well, I mean, you kind of grew up in it. I like hate cities. Like I work in New York City, and I hate it so much. Like it would make my commute so much easier if I lived there, but I would never live there ever in my life. And then thinking about I love coming to Philly because a lot of our friends are there, but I get really anxious thinking about having to drive in and like navigate around people. Do you like cities, or do you like kind of more relaxed areas?
I do like cities. I definitely also have a soft spot for like being out in the middle of nowhere, but I really actually went my freshman year. I did at a school in like Western Massachusetts, like super middle of nowhere, and I couldn't do it. The school was a bad fit, and then also just like the like isolation of the area was hard. So yeah, I generally gravitate towards cities, but I also like, I mean, if you're driving, like cities are terrible. And like driving in cities that you're not super familiar with too. I have driven, like there was a period of time where I was playing like shows in DC kind of regularly, not regularly, but I did a couple of them like kind of close together, and driving to DC was like a nightmare, and I got a ticket every single time. So
that's rough. One time me and Russ got stuck in Philly for hours. What was the event? It was was it the marathon?
It was the Rocky Balboa Marathon.
Yeah, it was the Rocky Balboa Marathon. Our friend David Juro, our good friend David Juro, failed to let us know. Not that it's entirely on him, but I'm putting it entirely on him. Yeah. And we got stuck in what was it? It was like about 3 hours. We made it probably like a mile at most.
That's awful.
It was rough.
You couldn't even write it for a TV show. We were driving. Yeah. We couldn't go anywhere, and then all these people dressed like Rocky Balboa were running by, and the finish line of the marathon was at the top of the Rocky Steps, which, you know, if you're driving out of that Drexel area, like that's your only way to get out pretty much. It was insane. It was so stupid.
Yeah, it was not fun. Like, thank God me and Russ had each other, because I think if either of us was alone, we actually would have gone insane.
Yeah, I think at that point I would have just gotten out of the car.
I thought about it. Russ kept me sane. If I was alone, I would have just left my car there and walked home.
That for sure was like bad news bears. But what kind of places did you play at when you were in DC? Because we did DC, I think only once, but we've got friends who are pretty involved in the scene over there.
Yeah, it was just the same.
Shout out to Rob Klein.
Yeah, it was at his house.
Oh, cool. What is it? Mm-hmm. Did you play at Mystery Inc. or?
Yeah, it was like 2 or 3 times that I played there. Um, I know I did a show there. When I put out the EP, I did a show there and then one in Philly. And then there was at least one other time, maybe 2 other times that I played there.
Do you usually kind of organize just like a show here and there? Did you, before all the pandemic stuff happened, were you doing tours regularly? What was your?
No, it was I don't have the like brain power to do that most of the time. So it was usually just like I was just kind of getting to a point where I was like, okay, I need to like hustle a little more, like get some more shows, like maybe do a tour over the summer. And I'm glad I didn't put the effort into booking that. But yeah, it's usually one-off shows. But I mean, I did a tour in 2018 with Elephant Jake, and that was sick. I loved it, and I keep like telling myself that I'm gonna do it. But I've also just had the struggle of like scheduling stuff, and like if I want to do a full band tour, it's like I have to work around like the UART schedule and the Drexel schedule, which is really tricky because we always have breaks at different times. And then I've always had like jobs in the summer that I couldn't take time off from, and so just has never happened since 2018.
Do you prefer performing solo or with a full band, or do they both kind of have their pros and cons?
I think they both have their pros and cons. There was only a period of time where I was doing full band stuff a little more consistently. And I mean, some of it's just dependent on like availability. Like if someone hits me up about a show and I like ask the band and they're not available, then I'll be like, okay, like I can do it solo if you want. It's definitely nice to be a little louder. But I also like, I haven't done as many, like I haven't worked out all of the songs that I have full band, so like the set's a lot more limited in that sense. So they're like, yeah, there are pros and cons, I think.
So when you started writing songs, what inspired you to write them under the pseudonym of Sleepy Freak rather than, did you always want it to be a full band project, or you just were writing whatever you were feeling?
Yeah, I mean, so I've been writing songs in general for a long time. I think I've dated the earliest ones, which I do not know and have no record of now, thank God, to when I was like 10 or 12. And but like starting this project was really, I sat around for a long time like waiting to find a band, and I just didn't because I didn't know a lot of people. I mean, I was 16 when I started writing songs for this project. And one of my friends at the time said to me, like, you should just do it solo, and like you can always like fill in the blanks later. And that was like, I think it was at a show at Everybody Hits that Pedal played solo, and I was like, okay, like I can do that. And it was also just like, I don't know, I never wanted to play acoustic, and so I think I was just starting to see people play like solo electric sets. Like I was sort of in like a big Julian Baker phase, and so I was like, yeah, like this makes sense for me. And then when I went to record, that's when I like started working with a band.
That's awesome. I think, at least from my perspective, when I first heard about your music, there was also like an added level of mystique behind it. I didn't realize you started writing music at such a young age. What inspired you to pick up any instrument and start composing on your own? Do you remember if it was an instance or if it was just an artist you heard and you were like, oh, I want to do that?
Honestly, I don't totally know. I mean, I always like loved to sing. In elementary school, I like desperately wanted to join the chorus, but you had to be in second grade to join the chorus, and I was really upset about that. And so I think that was part of it. And then I think in like, I don't know, kindergarten, first grade, I started to like get this idea in my head about like starting a band. And I remember like me and my best friend at the time were like, okay, we're gonna like start a band. And we wrote some like dumb, not even a full song at all. And then from there, I just like, it just kind of made sense to me. Yeah. And then I think it probably really picked up once I hit like middle school. Yeah, so I don't really know what inspired that, but
Well,
here I am.
you mentioned your love for singing. I think you have such a really, really great voice. It's very unique in my opinion. Were you ever like formally trained?
A little bit. I did. I went to like a School of Rock type thing, not that particular organization, in high school, and I already had. They did like lessons, and then also like put you into bands to like do cover songs and like play shows. And I already had a guitar teacher that I really loved, and so I didn't want to take guitar lessons there. And so I was like, okay, like I'll do voice lessons, and that definitely helped me a lot with like, I mean, I didn't know that there was like head voice and full voice, and I had never been introduced to any like
I don't even know what that is.
concepts of that. It's just like
honestly.
it's like singing from like your chest or like falsetto-y. But it definitely helped me like learn how to control that a little bit. And I probably had a much better range when I was taking lessons.
We've talked about we've done a couple of these episodes so far, and we've had the debate with people of whether they think, you know, taking lessons in like music theory helps you or harms you in the long run. Because I took some lessons and I know some theory, and I feel like I have like a set of rules I need to follow. Whereas Jake, who's our other singer-songwriter in our band, he was never formally trained. If he just hears something cool, he puts it in, and even though it breaks some rules, he's making some cool music out of it. What's your take on that?
I lean much more to the side of like, I don't want to know the rules. And I know that subconsciously that like I'm still doing a lot of the same things as someone who like has training in music theory. Technically, I took 2 years of music theory for school, but I don't know any of it. I've never been able to like really grasp that. It's never made sense to me. And I've definitely gotten into arguments with teachers because I was like, look, I just like don't have an interest in using this in my own work. I'd rather just like let whatever come out. And generally the lessons that I took, I always was like resistant to music theory. I just wanted to learn songs. And so I like found teachers who were just like down to work on, like my guitar teacher would just like sit down with me and I'd be like, this is the song that I want to learn. And then we'd like figure it out together. And like occasionally he'd be like, let's do some scales. Or he'd like sneak in a little thing like as we were learning the song. But I never wanted to like sit down and do the theory. And it was the same thing, the person I took vocal lessons from, also because it was in the context of like within that school, it was like you were working on the songs that you were going to perform with your band in your lessons. So at least to a certain extent. So it'd be like, okay, like these are the songs, like let's sing them, like let's map out like where you think you should breathe. Or like if there's a really hard note, like let's figure out how you can hit that. And then I also like worked in those lessons a little bit on like songwriting stuff. But yeah, I lean much more to the side of like, I think music theory is interesting and helpful for some people, but I would have to know it so deeply to be able to just like use it while I'm writing a song, because that's like, I don't want to be thinking about that. I want to be thinking about like the expression and emotion in it. Yeah.
Sure.
That's really great.
I
I
don't
like
want.
that because I'm not trained on music theory, so I'm like, yeah.
All right, you guys are cooler than me. Whatever. More punk rock.
Rock and roll has no rules.
I don't want to ask the really blatant, stupid question of like what inspires your music, but
What inspires your music?
no.
I'm just kidding.
So, like, you didn't want to learn theory when you were in your lessons. You wanted to learn how to play other songs. And I find personally transcribing songs that I really like to play, it helps me learn about how my favorite artists write music, and I can learn from that. Not that you're stealing it, you're just learning. What do you listen to stuff like that with and keep an ear out for things that you like, or do you go out into the world and just experience things?
Yeah, I mean, I think I definitely will hear things and be like, ooh, I really like that thing that they did. And will like make a mental note, but I'm also really bad about like, I don't know how to sit down and be like, okay, I want to write a song that sounds like this and then do it. It is kind of more just like whatever comes out, and that's what I have to work with.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think that definitely like the things that I listen to have influence on me, but anytime that I've tried to like set myself a challenge of like, I really want to write like some really like poppy thing or something, just it doesn't work out the way that I want it to ever. And sometimes it's still cool, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't think any songwriter can force themselves to say, I'm going to write this song today. It definitely just has to come naturally. When, for me personally, lyrics are really hard to come by. And when I'm looking for inspiration, of course, I'm looking at my own life and stuff like that. But I also listen to artists whose lyrics I find to be really interesting. And I'm not just saying this because you're here, but I often listen to Sleepy Freak when I'm in a funk or writing block, and because I think your lyrics are so great. How do you, what's your process for lyric writing? Does it come easy to you?
Yeah, I think that that's like my favorite part of writing, and that's the thing that like, I don't know, sometimes it comes easily. It usually like I'll start with I'll have like a phrase that gets stuck in my head, and I'll write it down, and then I guess more recently I've been trying to like sit down with that more immediately and be like, okay, like what can I turn this into? And sometimes that phrase like comes with a melody, and then I just try to like build off of that. I'm really bad at editing lyrics, which is really tricky. Like I
Yeah.
find that like once I've played it a certain way a certain number of times, I just like can't find another path for it to take. So I try to get it in within the first like one or two sessions that I'm sitting down and working on a song. Like I try to get the lyrics to where I want them before they're kind of stuck. But yeah, a lot of times it's just like playing things over and over again and like trying to keep going, and then just like seeing what comes out. There was one song that I wrote recently that I like, the beginning part came to me and I like sat down and started writing it, and I just like, I've been trying to like record myself just on my phone as I do things, because sometimes I play it once and then I forget what I did. But I'm pretty certain that I just like started recording on my phone and I just played through the entire song in one, and I was like, okay, that's it. And then I like went back and like tweaked some things and wrote some other parts, but it just like it was like at least 2 verses and a chorus just kind of like spilled.
That's awesome. You're just a hit machine, basically.
I don't know if that's true.
I was listening to a lot of Sleepy Freak this week to get ready to talk to you, so I could generate some Sleepy Freak questions. And I'm in a position right now where the only way for me to consume music is through YouTube, because I'm having phone problems and stuff, but that's something else. And so I was listening to your music on YouTube, and I saw that people would leave comments on your stuff, and they would say stuff like, "This song means so much to me," or "Your music means so much to me. Thank you for sharing." Have people come up to you and said things like that? How does something like that make you feel?
Yeah, I mean, there was someone who came to a show that I played, and like we talked, and it was a weird show. It was like this person who used to live in Philly who came back and like asked me to play the show, but then it was just like me and them and just like at their friend's house, and it was just like pretty much all their friends, and me and this girl were like the 2 people there who didn't really know everyone else. So we like talked for a lot of the night, and then like followed each other on Instagram, and at some point like at the end of last year when everyone was doing the like Spotify top songs, she like tagged me because one of my songs was one of her like top 5 or top 10, I don't remember what it was, on Spotify, and that was like a little mind-blowing. And I mean, I've had like, it's weird because I've had people from like elementary school and middle school that I don't really ever talk to like reach out to me when I've like put things out or like posted something on Instagram and people comment on it. So I don't know, it's definitely weird, because to me it's just like, this is just what I do. But I mean, it's like incredibly flattering and cool when that stuff happens. I don't think I've looked at the YouTube comments, but maybe I will, because those are all like, I think they all go up through DistroKid, and then so like it's not like it's like my channel that they're uploaded on. But
Well, let's talk about that for a minute, because they do that for us too when we upload to, and there's ads on those videos. Who's getting money for those? Because I'm not.
I don't know. I mean, maybe it comes into your like DistroKid money.
Oh, that's a good
I don't know. I had never checked that money, and I finally went today and was like, okay, I'm gonna see what's there. And I guess I put out the earliest thing that's on there. I put out 2018, I think, and there's like 40 something dollars. I was like, cool.
Yeah, the way ours is set up, it's like it'll pay you once you hit like $25, and I think we only get $25 like every 8 months, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I've made a like decent amount of money through like Bandcamp sales.
Nice.
But I mean, not anything like big, but I mean, it feels crazy that people are willing to spend money on my things. But yeah, the Spotify money's pretty sad.
I mean, that's a whole other topic in and of itself. I don't know if it's worth getting into. Did you ever do merch of any kind?
I did. I had some shirts that I made for that tour with Elephant Jake, and I actually I sold a good number of them on tour and like at some other shows, although I'm notorious for forgetting the merch or not wanting to carry it.
Sure.
And then I just like 2 weeks ago sold I found like 8 of them, I think, in a bin, and I was moving, and I was like, I don't want these anymore, so I just sold them for like dirt cheap. And I've been thinking about doing more shirts because people bought those pretty quickly, and there were other people who wanted them who didn't get them. But
Me.
there you go.
Yeah, 'cause, what should I wear for this? Not that this was like preconceived or whatever, but I was like, oh, I better put on my Sleepy Freak shirt, and then there I am in my closet like an idiot. Oh, you don't have a Sleepy Freak shirt. You're a fake band.
That's not a Sleepy Freak shirt?
No, so what is this?
Walgreens.
It's Walgreens. Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully in the near future. But we'll see. That was part of the like, let me see what money we have to work with thing.
Sure.
For that, and I'm thinking about like future recording projects.
For
But
sure.
yeah, I mean, I know a ton of people who do like graphic design and or screen printing, so I definitely have the people for that. So we'll see.
Mhm.
I also just like, I like the personal touch of like packing up shirts and
Of course.
putting a little note in them or whatever.
When it comes to your album art, at least the last couple, I really enjoy the aesthetic of that. Is that all kind of your imagination, or are you working with one of your super creative friends?
The more recent one for the just like one-off single Give and Take that I put out was just like a photo that I took for a class. I also do some like photography in addition to music. And yeah, so it was just kind of a thing I had lying around. And when I decided to put that song out, I was like, well, I'll just like grab something. And it sort of like fit the vibe. And then the previous artwork for the EP was something that I worked on with Ashley Gelman, who's a photographer. She used to live at and book shows at JJ's Diner.
Yes.
And that was sort of like, yeah, I think that was a collaborative effort. We kind of talked about like having some like picture frames and stuff, and like flowers. And then I sort of like collected those things, and she came over and we just kind of like staged the rest of it with like whatever things I could find. Yeah.
Did you get an A+ on the one for school?
I don't remember. I think I probably did. Maybe I got a B. It was for we had to make like a photo book. So I went, my extended family shares this house in the mountains that's kind of like completely falling apart. And my family has a lot of history in the town, and I went up there and like just took a bunch of pictures of the house that's falling apart and the town and like other houses in that town that are like relevant to my family history. And that was like in the room that I slept in as a kid. There was like 2 floral paintings, I guess. That was that.
What have you been listening to lately? What's been your jam this week?
Ooh. All of quarantine, been listening to the new Hayley Williams a lot. Very good. What else? I'm just gonna freaking look at my Spotify history.
I've been on a big Devo kick lately.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The new Phoebe Bridgers, been listening to that a lot.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Very good, like driving at night record.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think those are the big ones.
Did you like the new Taylor Swift?
I didn't make it all the way through because I started listening in the morning and then I had work. But I liked some of it. I don't know. I go back and forth on how I feel about Taylor Swift probably every week. Um, but I think it's cool that she wanted to return to like something that's a little more stripped down. And I mean, she worked with John Lowe, which is super sick.
That's the guy from
He's,
National, right?
yeah. Yeah. So that was like, just that was exciting.
You mentioned just like stuff you were trying to like get ready for in the future. And I know it's like near impossible to really plan. But do you have like songs in the vault? Were you planning on doing another recording? Or are you aspiring to one day do like a full LP, or is that just not in the cards yet?
Yeah, that's definitely in the cards. I've been sort of, my plan is, I mean, I have all these songs that they're probably 10-ish songs. And then of course I've written more since I started that process of like looking at them and thinking about them in terms of an album. And I had sort of like vaguely planned to work on that over the summer and to use like resources at school to make that happen. But now those are no longer. So I've been working a little bit just like as I have time and as I feel inspired to on like demoing things out, which I've never really done before. I know that like you do that for Shark Club stuff. So that was like little inspiration from you, but working on just like putting things in Logic and like trying to figure out like some vague structure for drum parts, which I'm terrible at writing. And then like other things, just so I have like a real roadmap of what I want things to sound like. Because recording the EP was a little bit weird. I went into it with like people I didn't know very well, and it turned out great, and I loved working with all of them, but I'm sort of interested in like having a little bit more of a plan and having a little bit more control going into it this time, particularly because whatever studio time I have will probably be a little bit more limited. I might just do like drums in a studio and everything else at home, but we'll see. Yeah, so I'm doing that, and then I'll send them to Reese, who's been playing drums with me, and tell him to fix the drum parts. And then we'll figure out some way to get those recorded, hopefully sometime in the next couple of months.
That's awesome. For people who might not be familiar with like how recording music works, and if you're not lucky enough to have school resources and you're paying to go into a studio, you're paying usually for the time and then also the amount of songs you're working with. I know we're all balling on a budget here, but in your opinion, like when someone says they're coming out with an LP, a full album, how many tracks is not enough tracks, and how many tracks is too many tracks?
I don't know. I usually think, for me, I feel like EP is like 3 to 5 songs. Anything less than that, it's like just put out singles or wait until you have more. And then I feel like album, I mean, part of it depends on the length of the songs, right?
Yeah,
Because if
totally.
they're all like 10-minute songs, I'm like, I want a lot of those. But like, I usually think between like 10 and 12 is pretty standard, and I would maybe accept like 8 to 15. But when it gets beyond that, I'm like, this is really long, unless they're really short. But yeah.
I concur with those figures. How do you feel about it, Eric?
Yeah, I usually like to listen to, especially when I'm listening to something for the first time, like I kind of like to go like through the whole album, like beginning to end.
Sure.
So I don't know. I like if it's gonna be that long, like it has to be engaging at least. Like there are some albums where like they just kind of seem to drag on. I don't know. I guess it's similar to movies too.
But I feel
Like
like it's
I'm
also
willing to sit and listen to a long album. It's just like it's gotta I don't know. It's gotta keep me engaged.
Yeah, and it's like if there's a reason that like all of those songs needed to fit together, then like
Hmm.
having a lot more songs is like okay, like if they all make sense together. But if you just like tacked on 3 extra songs that like could have been your next thing or could have been like secret tracks or whatever, then it just like doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Is there an instrument you've always wanted to learn how to play? Or are you like a master of everything?
Um, I've always really wanted to learn how to play the drums.
Hmm.
I feel like a lot of other things I can like sort of play. Uh, like I can play a little bit of piano. I can like make my way around. But um, when I was a kid, I really wanted to learn how to play drums, and my parents said no because we don't want drums in the house.
Yeah.
And I didn't have like a finished basement or anything we could use. Um, and I still really wanted to learn how to play the drums. Um, but my like, I hate every time I've like sat down at a drum set, like this feels great, but the fact that you have to be so bad and also so loud when you first start out is like such a roadblock for me. I'm like, if I can be really bad quietly, great. But um, yeah, we'll see. Maybe someday. I wanted to like take drum lessons through school because then you like go to the soundproof practice rooms and like do. But now if I took them through school, they'd just be over Zoom and I'd have to practice in my house and like drive the people that I live with crazy. So
My friend got an electric drum kit for that reason. And I don't know if it helped or harmed him, but he's having fun. He just puts his headphones in, and all you hear is like clack, 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 clack.
I did when I was like, I don't know how old I was, but I would have had maybe 15, because it would have been when I had a job and had money. But I bought like a really ton of those, and I tried it, and it just like it didn't feel good,
Okay.
and so I just never used it. And then I sold it to some dad on Craigslist.
When you said that, it made me think of like I'm a fan of Bill Burr, and he always talks about how when he wants to blow off steam, he just runs into his garage and plays Pantera on the drums. So that's what I think that dad is doing with the electric.
I hope so.
Do you have any? We're thinking about starting a segment where like we review like either an album or a movie or something, and I was starting to think that maybe we should have our guests recommend something to us, and then on the next episode we review it.
That's so genius, Eric. You're so smart.
You got like a movie you got a soft spot for, or something, or something that you saw recently that stood out to you?
I think my favorite movie is Clueless.
I've never seen that. That's perfect.
You should watch it. Red.
Okay. Russ, have you
Beautiful
seen it?
Man.
Somebody put it on, but I wasn't paying attention, and
Good enough.
somebody who loves that movie, and we can watch it together. So
Weird, but it's great. The soundtrack is phenomenal. There
right,
is a
right.
scene. Yeah, there is a scene with a ska band. I don't remember which one. It might be the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones.
I'm
Don't
sold.
quote me. I think it's a perfect film.
Oh,
All right. Well, there we go. Okay, Russ, we gotta find a time to watch that at some point.
for sure. Yeah, we'll watch Clueless. Thank you for the recommendation.
Oh yeah.
Eric, do you want to play this or that? I've been writing down this or that's all week.
Oh, okay. I'm excited to hear what you got.
Okay. You want to play this or that, Kate? Are you down?
Oh yes.
Basically, I already know that you know what this or that is, but I have to explain it. This or that. I name two things, and you have to pick between this or that. Okay, here we go. Now that we're all on the same level. All right, here's the first one that I wrote for this or that. Sandwiches cut down the middle or in triangles?
I go down the middle. I'm a halvesies guy.
Triangles.
Triangles all the way.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean it's not like multiple triangles. I do like one on its own.
Yeah, one diagonal. But then what bread are you using?
I'm like I mean I've been like trying to be good and get like multi-grain bread. But I also love a good like just like a really good French bread. That would be my ideal pick. But
I'm a rye guy.
Rye.
Mm-hmm.
I was working with a football coach a couple of years ago, and we weren't even talking about bread. He just happened to like exclaim that sourdough bread was the healthiest bread, and he said that his
I don't know about that.
was a doctor, and that was the science behind it. So if you're looking for a healthy bread,
maybe I should switch
Bread
to
makes you
sourdough.
fat.
okay. Ready for the next this or that? How many should we do? Should we cap it off? Okay.
How about 3?
I don't waste all my this or that's on you.
3 sounds good.
3? Okay. Oh man, these are really these suck. Okay,
Well,
ready?
Pick the good ones.
That's the problem though. I only have 5 written down, and none of them are really good ones. All right, ready? Candy cane or candy corn?
Oh, neither. I guess
I'm
candy
gonna-
cane. I don't know. I'm sorry. You can go, Kate.
Oh, I'm gonna say candy cane. I'm not like a huge cane person, but given the choice, candy cane, absolutely.
I am very against candy corn.
Yeah, it's kind of gross.
That
but
is a
there's
big
nothing-
no from me. I've always been very against it.
Well, that
What
was
about
like,
you, Russ? You didn't answer.
I love a good candy cane. I get so stoked someone gives me a candy cane. Sometimes you're at somebody's house and they have candy canes on their tree, and I always have to ask, "Can I have one?" Like, and then you get like the real pepperminty ones. Sometimes there's spearmint ones. Sometimes there's fruity ones. Sometimes
Yeah, I like the fruity ones that are funky colors. Those are the ones that I like.
they're fun. They're definitely fun. Which leads me to my next question. Doctor or dentist? What I mean is, do you prefer to attend a doctor appointment or a dentist appointment? Which makes you less anxious?
I don't know. For me, they're both pretty rough. But I guess I don't know. I don't know. I've never really been as against the dentist as most people seem to be. I don't know. I guess I have okay teeth. I've never had to get like I've had my wisdom teeth taken out, but even that wasn't too bad. So I don't know. I guess I'll pick dentist, which I know is probably a hot take. That's what this podcast is about, okay? That's what we're making it about. Sorry, I didn't mean to get so passionate about not being as anxious as most people about the dentist.
As a kid, I would have said dentist because my dentist was super nice, and I never had a cavity or anything, so it wasn't super scary. And my doctor was like scary and mean and making shots. But now, I think I'm gonna say it's switched. I have a nice doctor and a mean dentist. So I'm gonna say doctor.
Yeah, I definitely like the doctor more because he can answer more of your questions. He's like, "How you feeling? You have any questions?" If I go to the dentist, I'm like, yeah, what toothpaste should I use? And at my doctor, I'm like, I have a bump. I'm farting too much. What can I be like? What am I eating wrong? Stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Well, I asked the doctor why my parents fight so much, and he couldn't tell me.
Sometimes they don't have all the answers, which is unfortunate.
Thank you for putting up with this, Kate.
Of course.
Yeah, thanks for doing this, Kate.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, like we said, it's good to hang out and talk to you.
Much Russ. Oh, okay, never mind.
What?
I realized we were both doing the same hand things.
We should mimic each other because we're both wearing red and we both have glasses.
I'm wearing pink. This is pink.
This is pink too. Hopefully things get kind of straightened out and we can do these types of hangs in person the next time, or maybe we could play.
Oh yeah.
But
I would love that.
Yeah, I mean it's always great talking with you. You're a lot of fun, and again, thank you so much for taking the time and talking with us.
Rock and roll.
And thanks for being flexible with the time today. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good. I mean, I have literally nothing going on right now, so.
I forget my days of the week so easily.
You want to be featured on the podcast next week? Again?
Again?
Well, you are more than welcome to come back anytime, unless you really didn't have fun with us.
No, I would love to.
Oh, that's so nice. Thanks.
Hopefully, we can see you live, full band live soon.
Yeah, I've never seen you full
I've
band.
only seen you acoustic.
Yeah. Oh, we were all at that show together.
Well,
that was fun. Well, I mean, wasn't the greatest show, but.
Which one was that? I don't remember.
We played that basement in, where was it? It was an acoustic show.
Oh.
No. Gosh darn it.
Hamilton.
Yeah.
Hamilton, New Jersey.
I remember. It was weird.
Yeah.
It was fun, but it was weird.
Yeah. No, because there was only like 5 people down there. And then I think Teenage Halloween
Those are the best.
Teenage Halloween played, and there was more members in Teenage Halloween than there were in the audience.
Yeah.
But everyone was nice. I think everybody knew each other, kind of. So.
I miss those. Yeah, exactly. I miss those times.
Yeah.
You couldn't get out of bed all last week. I'm afraid of what will happen when I leave. Just last year it wasn't you, it was me. Drag me home by my hands, by my
Hey, welcome back, guys. Hope you enjoyed that interview with Kate Lord of Sleepy Freak. We had a great time talking. I hope you guys had a great time listening. We got a little off the rails there at the end, but we have fun as always.
For sure. I wonder, I've been thinking, I should have said it in the intro. I think maybe you and I could be doing a better job of controlling the audio quality. We are musicians, after all, recording artists. We should look into something. What do you think?
I'm just recording on my phone, honestly,
I know.
so I'm really doing the worst. Like, I'm really not helping anything. But
No,
I thought, did the one at Tim's house, did you listen to that? Did that come out better than the one we did with David? Because we
No.
were using mics. Like, maybe we should try and like set up a little spot where we can actually like have a little space where we do it and set up mics and try and make it good.
Well, I think when
if there wasn't a pandemic going on, we could actually like travel and go to the people and like set up a mic with them and have like it'd be so much more organic if we were all in like the same room. And
I'm so glad you said that, because that's the preferred way I'd do it. I'd love to be in person with them.
Yeah.
But even then, when things get a little safer, if you and I could get into at least just you and I could get in a room, that would be cool too. But the one with Sal, we each individually used the Snowball mic, and that's kind of more of a room mic. So we're having phasing in between both mics.
Oh man, that's rough.
Which I wasn't thinking about. It's not it's not like unlistenable, but it's a little tricky. Our thanks again to Kate from Sleepy Freak. We'll leave you with a little taste of their music. If you feel so inclined to later check them out, I highly recommend it. Any last words on that, Eric?
Nope. Everyone have a great week. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks for joining us again. If this is episode 3, if you're still here from episode 1, Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm having fun. It's great to catch up with some old pals.
I am too. I hope that that we're not the only ones having fun here.
I know. I know. Well, everyone's seems really nice, and it's really nice of them to be a part
Yeah.
of it. I'm really into it.
Mhm.
So we're
Yeah,
very
I'm loving it so far. Today we're sounding off with Frat Boys and Docs by Sleepy Freak.
come back soon.
That was bad, wasn't it?